Hi everyone, it's Miss B the Kindy, or better known as Jordan, and today's the day that I'm walking you through my classroom tour. We are about to start school. I've been putting in the work to set up my room, and I can't wait to show you what my kindergarten classroom looks like for this school year. I've changed a lot of things around, but I've kept the things that make sense that I've used throughout my years of teaching basically the same in my room, so I'll show you my adjustments, what I've added, and what I've switched around in my room. So come on, let's go! I'm going to start at the front of my classroom, and here is where the door is, where the children come in. I like to keep a bell on my door so I know if there's any visitors coming in, so that lets me know. I have my Velcro number dots, so on the ground right here, this is where my students line up. I also have my Velcro paw spots instead of a rug. This is what I use for the children to sit on. Back here, unfortunately, like with the smart board, I have to waste a whole whiteboard space. So what I've done differently this year is I've put the date up here at the top so all students from their tables can see. I use my hand signals up here, so when I am teaching at the smart board, we reinforce these hand signals throughout the school year, like the bathroom, yes, no, a W for water, so I rely on those heavily in kindergarten. Over here, I have their math groups. I like to use a team system in math. They are MLB teams, and then their reading groups are NFL teams. They take ownership of that when they're part of a team. I also have this little rolly card I got on Amazon. I like to keep my read alouds here. I keep their little partner cards up here, and then any other teaching materials that I will use. We haven't started the school year yet, but we are getting a new reading program. So I need a way where I can easily grab the manual, any materials I need. So I like to keep this kind of tucked away behind my smart board. This is where I also store my little anchor charts. So I got fresh new little, I love the mini anchor charts. So this is where I keep them when we design one together as a class. This is a little bit different, so I essentially kept the same concept. I do my family wall every year. Students send in a 4x6 photo of their families. I hang them up like a little wall, and then if they're ever feeling sad or they just want to see their family, I say go over to the family wall and go visit your family, and they love that. I think it's really, really great for kindergarten to have something for them to look at, especially at the beginning of the year. Last year I started the 100s club, so the students will actually get like a little star, and once they can count to 100, they get to write their name and add their name to the 100s club. My OCD is kicking in, so I'm gonna have to move this over a little bit because it is not in the middle, so we'll fix that later. And then I kept my book character posters. I actually made those myself, and what I did, instead of having them come down here because I added a border, I just kept them all at the top, and I just think it's really, really cute. Those are some of my favorite characters. I know that my students love these characters too from children's books. This will go really great with our theme in the classroom, and then when we're reading stories throughout the year, we can look at the characters and talk about them. This board is my central board. I'm going to talk about each piece and how I use it. So over here we have our daily schedule. This is more for my students to see. You have to put a learning intention and a success criteria. That's what you're teaching the students, what you expect from them, and you come up with each one together. So that is something that's required, so that goes over here. For math, we always do days in school, so I use 10 frames, and it's a great way for the students to be exposed to 10 frames because that is a tool they'll use in kindergarten. So we do this all the way up until the last day. I have my out class. That's where they go for music, art, PE right here, so it's a rotation chart. And then right here, I have their class job, so I'll put a little magnet of their picture beside what they want to do. And I actually made this myself, so I love their class jobs. And then down here, I will display pictures of what's on the lunch menu at school and if they're a packer. And again, they'll have a little magnet with their picture on it, and they'll sign up for lunch. I know we've kind of moved away from that hands-on signing up for lunch. A lot of teachers do it on the smart board, but I use my smart board in the morning for how they unpack as a visual. So this is part of their unpacking routine. In kindergarten, sometimes the students don't understand what a packer is and if they're buying for the first time. So this lets them make that choice of, oh, my responsibility is I packed a lunch. Like my mom didn't pack me a lunch, maybe she did, but I have to sign up and know what that means because it might be a child's first time in school. So this is a great way to build that independence early on. This is the iPad car. I try to use the iPads as limited as possible. We do have to use them for assessments, but we go over expectations of how to use the iPads. Throughout my room, you will see these 12 by 12 posters. These are actually secret stories. I've used these for the past 6 years. I switched over to the pastel colors last year. I love them. And then I implement those with my phonics and my reading. They're fun stories that help students read and write, and we use them throughout the school year. This is my science wall. This is something through our district we have to use. And then right here is probably my favorite part of my classroom. It is my classroom library. So I've put so much time and effort into collecting, organizing, and just making sure there's plenty of books for my students to go over and explore. At the beginning of the year, I send home a reading bag and I send home a cuddle book. A cuddle book is any book from the library they can pick. They can go read it at home with mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa, whoever. And that exposes them to reading. So a parent can read with them. They can read the book. They could just look at the pictures, but they get that choice in the morning when they unpack to choose any book they want. They switch it out each day, goes home that very first day, and that instills a love for reading early on. So I loved reading as a child. I still love to read. So I want my young readers to be able to explore books early on. These are just my personal books. If you are a first-year teacher, I really recommend starting to go to yard sales, Facebook Marketplace, ask a teacher who's retiring or leaving the room to start getting your hands on some of your own books to collect. This will be my learning wall. So you can see I've divided it by subject. I have science over there. I have reading and writing, social studies, and math. So that's where anchor charts will be hung up, displaying student work. And we will refer to those things, those visuals for students throughout the year. They'll change based on what we're learning. Here's an example of one of our student desks. I always keep a basket in the middle, and this is something I've kind of done for the past couple of years. Their table teams are NBA teams, and this will stay in the middle, and I like to store their pencil boxes in there. They have their little chairs. They have a seat sack. We keep their notebooks in here. There's 6 chairs per table, so 6 students can sit here. Moving on back to my area. I am someone who does not have my own personal desk. I use my teacher table as my desk. In my opinion, you might disagree with me, I think a desk is a waste of space. It just piles up papers. I never use it, and I honestly learned when I was student teaching, my student teacher I was working for did not have a teacher desk. So I love that. I love being able to have an area that just is with my students. This is kind of like my personal area. I have the school phone. I have my wall with schedules. These 2 shelves are Monday through Friday. I keep all student worksheets there, handouts. I organize their reading and math centers here. And then these tubs are where I store like student data, assessments, anything, forms that I need to keep hands on. So they're right behind me if I need to get them. My desk is a hot mess right now because I am getting ready for Meet the Teacher Night. I'm getting all my forms out. I'm making a separate video on that, so stay tuned. I have 6 chairs at my table, so there are 5 around, and then 1 is always beside me if I need to test a student like one-on-one. We do one-on-one assessments throughout the school year, especially in kindergarten. I have my wire racks behind here. Right now, they're just random things that are inside, but I'll put like manipulatives. I'll put anything the students need. I always have whiteboards. I'll cone in boxes, and then for their small groups, whatever materials I may need. Right here are their classroom reading bags. One of their reading stations is to pick a bag, and inside are a lot of different books, most of them being decodable stories. So they will take a bag and learn how to sit down, how to explore books, how to read as one of their stations. They're free to pick any of these bags. These are all of my math manipulatives. That is something really big in kindergarten, is to make sure that your students can access manipulatives, cubes, links, shapes, whatever you may use. It's super important that your students are working with those, because as they grow and grow and grow, they'll use manipulatives in different grade levels, and it really, really helps them problem solve. All right, let's go to the fun areas. Again, I have another rolly shelf. On top, I'm waiting for us to get our new reading curriculum because I plan on sorting the thousands of books we are going to get. Probably love to get more tubs, but this is just an area I feel like I'm going to use, as well as that part of my countertop that is empty over there. On this side, I have more manipulatives, more things for the children to explore, some STEM items that they can play with. And then where I'm standing right here is my dramatic play area. My daddy built this for me. So this was originally like an ice cream stand, but I'm gonna call it a shop. And then I haven't pulled out my little dramatic play items, but they all stay in these 2 shelves right here so the students can play with them. And then of course, My favorite grocery store, H-E-B. I got a little H-E-B cart. So that's an opportunity for them to play with dramatic play because we do not need to take playtime away from kindergartners. They should have time to be able to problem solve, work with their friends. We need to bring dramatic play back into our classrooms. I just kind of threw some stuff, but this is a little table I got on Amazon for them when they are at this dramatic play. They can play here or they play with a friend here during math and reading center. So they like this flexibility seating. These are my Lucky Ducks. I usually have them up there, but I just had them here because I was putting them together. I pull a duck out and it has the student's number on the bottom, and that's like a way I can call on students, or if I'm picking someone random to come share. I do the Lucky Ducks, they love that. This is my class marble jar. It is the best classroom management system. And what essentially happens is you start the jar with marbles, and this can be whole group or one-on-one, like with a student. So let's say, oh my goodness, you all were walking so quietly in the hallway. Let's put a handful in. I can put a handful in, someone can, so that goes in. Once all of these marbles have left and they're here, class gets a vote on a reward. Great way for classroom management. Great for a first year teacher if you need a classroom management that's easy and students really understand the outcome. This is my countertop, so I store things up here. I have their birthday wall here. They get little donuts with their names underneath, and then my teacher supplies and art supplies are all in these shelves. In the bottom shelves, I have like a miscellaneous shelf, science, and then these are all my toys and games. Activities here, activities there, and activities there. If we have a time where I say, all right, you have 10 minutes of free time, they can go get an item there. We might do it for morning time. We might do it as an incentive if they fill up the marble jar, maybe they want extra playtime. And down here in Texas, it gets hot. We might have inside recess, so I gotta have those toys on backup. My countertop, like I said, I'll probably use this half to store our new reading materials. Look how cute these turn out. If the pencils are sharp or if they're dull, so my Pencil Pro, one of the class jobs, will help me with this. So students can come grab a new pencil. I have my pencil sharpener. My room smells good because I have my plug-in right now. I keep the no touching on a lot of my items so students know that that's just for the teacher. Turn-in tray, their folders, their reading bags. This is their mailbox. They'll learn that their little name will be on a backwards binder clip. This is where all their mail is stored, extra teacher supplies. And then I've used these shelves for years. They usually come, I think you can build them 4. It might be 3. Essentially, this is where they store their lunch boxes on top. These little baskets are by table. They'll put their snacks in it by what table they sit at. And then on the bottom, they put their water bottles so they don't leak on their desk. I have these tubs, again, by their table. I get these little pouch bags and I add a little link on here and I put a little picture of them on here. This is where they put their headphones. So they'll keep their headphones here. They'll take the bag back to their desk. They'll learn, this is great for them, learning how to zip and unzip. On this side are my math and reading centers. Yellow is my reading centers. Blue is my math. So I've already set up my centers because I love teaching them right at the start of the year. They need to learn the expectations. This little tag matches the tag on the outside. And what we'll do is I'll model how to play each game. Like it's going to take a couple weeks. So don't think that you need to do it overnight. Like here's a game here. I already have like ABCs, so they'll just like match a letter to here, and it just varies by what type of game. My games stay the same, but the skill will change. That's a great way to set up your centers. It's great to be organized as a teacher and use colors, use names, use teams, because the children will remember that. I have a bathroom in my classroom, so we have the sink here. Right here we have our all-star wall. This is like a classroom management system. Everyone starts on starting lineup. They'll move up for good choices. If we're not making the best choice, we will move down. Over here is my little art shelf. I used to have a rainbow cart, but I invested in something different this year. And I'm really excited because they can just take the tub and go. When they have that time to work, they can have extra crayons. We have smelly markers. I have all the materials, like in case they run out of something or something dries up, I'll just say, go get one out of the tub. That saves me time as a teacher, like especially expo markers and pencils. We always need extra glue sticks. So instead of me going to my shelf getting one, it's right there and they will learn to go get that independently. These little clips are supposed to be on my behavior chart right there, but this is a Lego table. I took my old table where the students had chairs. One of the chairs broke, so I just kept the table. I ordered these big Lego bricks on Amazon and Gorilla glued them on here. And this is a great table for them to come build the Legos with. This is my word jail. so any words that they learn through our phonics that have a part that is irregularly spelled, we'll put it over here in the word jail. All the other words that have a phonics pattern will go on a secret story. Like, for example, if we learn the word for, we'll put it with or because we'll learn about that secret story. And now we're back to the front. I have these large closets. They are amazing. I store all of my reading, math, personal items inside. These are like all of my centers. I have them in a binder that I've printed. I label the games so I can easily pull them out and in. And then you can see they're all in sheets already, so I can just switch them out. So this does take time. That's why I said if you are a teacher, use your summer wisely. I have books, I have manuals, I have coffee. I also have this. If you want to make something fun for your kids, this is Bubbles. Bubbles is our class pet. Bubbles goes home each week with one student. They can take pictures and put them in the little journal here, and they write about what they did with Bubbles. The kids love it, and I love it too because I did something similar when I was younger. Thank you so much for watching my classroom tour. If there's more things you want to see that I showed you inside my classroom, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm looking for so many different ideas to film, to talk about, and my only goal is to help you as a teacher expand your knowledge. I'm always looking for new ways. I'm here to help you learn new ways inside your classroom and navigate, whether it's your first year, whether it's your 8th year, whether it's your 30th year. I know things are always changing in teaching, but the greatest thing is to be there for your students. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.